Folks around Colorado were greeted with sunshine and 70s on this lovely Friday ahead of a pretty warm weekend. 9 days ago, Denver recorded its first 70-degree day, and this weekend we are pushing 80.
Lauren Robinson, give it to the people.
All right, well, we're going to be having a ton of heat. It'll be breezy out there, so we do want to watch for increased fire weather danger. We're also going to see sunny skies throughout our entire weekend. So one of those beautiful outdoor weekends to go and do those activities, just mind the fire danger. Today we saw a high of 77 degrees at DIA. Most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains was in the upper 70s to lower 80s. We even saw some 50s and 60s up in the high country, 70s and 80s out west. Now, those temperatures have cooled down, of course, but as we go through the next few days, we're going to see those highs approaching 80 tomorrow and even on Sunday. What we will be watching for on our HD Doppler radar is going to be a couple days of sunny skies, and then we're looking for our next system to start to push its way in for the start of our next work week. As we take a look at our current HD Doppler radar, still a little bit of moisture off to the west, very brief spotty rain and snow showers up across the high country in the southwestern corner of the state between Durango and Telluride. That'll all stay there. We're going to stay partly cloudy but dry across the Front Range and Eastern Plains. So as we move into the weekend, we're going to see lots of warm weather. We're going to watch for that increased fire weather danger. We're also going to watch for several chances for rain as we move into next week. I'll have all of those details for you just ahead in my full 7-day forecast.
Autistic children often do a thing called echolalia, which is repeating things people say to them rather than responding to it. There is footage of Tyler asking my daughter to say various phrases. The only one I can repeat in court without risking a contempt charge is, "Can you say Polly want a cracker?" It's important to me that you know that he was mocking my daughter's disability when he did that.
A judge handed down a 12-and-a-half-year sentence today for a school bus aide who abused 11 special needs children in Fort Collins. Police arrested Tyler Zanella nearly a year ago after security camera footage showed him assaulting those kids. The sentence came after more than 2 hours of emotional testimony. The paraprofessional abused Sabrina Herrick's daughter repeatedly. The school invited her to watch the tapes, and Herrick opened up about what she saw on them.
What I saw instead was, in fact, my worst nightmare. My daughter being assaulted over and over and over while she bawled her eyes out. A 9-year-old little girl, autistic, barely verbal on a good day. Body blocked into a corner and assaulted by a man easily 3 times her size who'd been hired to protect her from the dangers of the world.
The sentence includes 2 years in the county jail and 10.5 years in prison. With good behavior, Tyler Zanella could be out in about 7 years. Opening statements got underway today in the case for the former deputy accused of shooting and killing a young man suffering a mental health crisis. Andrew Buin is charged with second-degree murder in the death of Christian Glass in 2022. The DA says Glass called 911 for help when his car got stuck, and it appeared that he was in a mental health crisis. Well, when officers approached him, Glass admitted he had a knife, and they held him at gunpoint before Buin shot into the car, killing him. Prosecutors say Glass didn't get out of his car because he was scared, and the DA called Buin's actions aggressive and criminal. The defense says Glass was driving under the influence. The trial is set to continue Monday, with Glass's mother expected to take the stand.
Democrats' most sweeping gun control measure at the state capitol this year is advancing today with a significant change. The bill would ban the manufacture, purchase, sale, or transfer of so-called assault weapons. It defines that term to include 50 caliber rifles or semi-automatic with a detachable magazine and a modification like a pistol grip or muzzle brake. Originally, a violation would have been punishable by a massive $250,000 fine. Then they made it a petty criminal offense, the lowest level. And then today it was changed back to a fine, but a far smaller one, $750. Republicans are vowing that if this becomes law, it will not be enforced in the areas they control.
That in the 64 counties, I would opine that about 47 of them will never, ever, because of the oath to the Constitution, enforce this statute.
All this is doing is creating another level of criminal out of the law-abiding citizen who is trying to exercise their rights as an individual.
The bill still has to pass a final vote in the House, and then it has a tougher road from there. Democrats have a smaller majority in the state Senate, and Democratic Governor Jared Polis is openly skeptical of a state assault weapons ban. He said that it's a federal issue.
Also at the Capitol today, hundreds of people gathered for the 2024 Colorado March for Life. Before the march even started, people were seen rallying on the Capitol steps, calling for pro-life protections for both women and babies across the state. Pro-Life Colorado helped organize the event, featuring speakers from local and state leaders. There was police there, just in case of any disturbances, but everybody behaved themselves.
A bill at the state capitol could force hospitals to file lawsuits under their own names if they want to sue their patients. A 9 News investigation found that UC Health is suing hundreds of patients a year under the name of its debt collector. As written now, this bill would force hospitals and other owners of debt to sue under 2 names, both their own name and the debt collector. The legislation passed the House Judiciary Committee this week. It could be introduced before the full House in a week or so. The state and the city of North Glen have come to a compromise over a proposed state mental health facility.
As 9 News reporter Ria Jha shows us, the state is now building their facility on the city's terms.
All started when North Glen got a note from the state that they'd be building a mental health transitional living facility.
The city didn't really have all of the information to start.
It's part of a 2022 bill to create more beds for people with mental health conditions and substance abuse disorders. Mayor Meredith Lady was surprised to learn they were bringing this facility to North Glen.
The state purchased property in our city, but did not communicate with us their intention.
The town was worried about the inclusion of sex offenders. DHS clarifies they'd only be included potentially years down the line. But Mayor Lady says people in North Glen don't want that now or ever.
And it's in between a significant apartment complex and a neighborhood school. And another school is nearby. So the proximity to children was very concerning, which is why we needed to notify our residents and start the conversation with the state.
After some commotion at this week's city council meeting, North Glen announced they've now come to an agreement with the state.
So, we really weren't going to stop until we had an agreement that made sense for the safety of our community.
The agreement says the facility will never house sex offenders, will keep a 1,000-foot distance from schools, and build higher fencing.
We hear the term NIMBY, not in my backyard, and it had nothing to do with that. The state, according to what we've been told, really did reflect on some of their missteps, and they heard what the residents were concerned about. So
the mayor tells me she knows this won't be the last time the state builds a facility like this, and she hopes this can be the model for how cities can work with the state going forward. In the studio, Ria Jha, 9 News.
Ria, thank you. There's a bill to improve safety and traffic flow on Colorado's mountain highways. It is moving through the state legislature. The bill just passed out of committee. Under current law, CDOT can issue closures or require commercial vehicles to use chains on I-70 from September through May 31st each year between Dot Cerro, just west of Gypsum, and Morrison. Well, this new bill would change the locations where that's required to include mountain corridors on the western slope, including Glenwood Canyon. The bill also features several other sections, from heightened speed limit enforcement zones to ticketing commercial vehicle drivers for sitting in the far left lane. Just a reminder that drivers can expect some delays on westbound I-70 in Glenwood Canyon starting Monday. Crews will be reconstructing rockfall protection work around Blue Gulch, just east of Glenwood Springs near the Hanging Lake exit. That work is expected to last through Friday, April 26th.
The White House announced today that it is canceling billions of dollars in additional student loan debt. It's part of a new revised plan from the Biden administration after the Supreme Court struck down his last attempt. Today, the Education Department said it is canceling $7.4 billion in student loans aimed at helping more than 270,000 borrowers.
9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles walks us through this latest plan and who exactly this is designed to help.
The White House is trying again, a new proposal to bring relief to the millions of Americans burdened by billions in student loans.
Definitely, it is time for some very targeted and very specific relief regarding student debt.
Candace Smith is the CEO and founder of Boss Generation,
which is an organization that's dedicated to the wealth and wellness of Black women.
She says student loan debt holds back the women she works with every day.
Having lots of student loan debt impacts the ability to purchase homes. It impacts the ability to start and sustain businesses. It impacts the ability to save for retirement.
Friday's debt cancellation helps borrowers enrolled in the White House's new SAVE repayment plan, or income-driven repayment, or public service loan forgiveness plans. The plan also targets people still paying off their loans after 20 years or longer. and those struggling to make their payments, a burden disproportionately carried by people of color.
So over 70% of Black students are going into debt in order to pay for higher education. We have Black women who will graduate with their undergraduate degree with a debt burden of close to $40,000. That also is something that definitely needs to be specifically addressed, and hopefully this plan will be able to do that.
With politics comes uncertainty. The Supreme Court struck down Biden's first plan to cancel student loan debt. Already, some conservative-led states plan to sue over the president's latest attempt.
It remains to be seen, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Smith remains optimistic. Under this plan, the borrowers who need it most will see relief.
This plan potentially has the opportunity to narrow the racial wealth gap. It remains to be seen.
According to the Department of Ed, there are about 4,800 borrowers just in Colorado that would be approved for the debt forgiveness plan announced today. In the studio, Jennifer Meckles, 9 News.
Jenny, thank you.